Hey Sunrise, it's Andrew here with your small group questions for this week as we dive into Mark chapter 11, verses 11 through 26, and we come to that classic story that we see of Christ in the temple overturning tables. We're going to see a lot more at play as we work through the totality of the text. We're going to see that the temple narrative is actually placed between what we list as the fig narrative, as Christ is going to curse the fig tree for not producing fruit, and then explain its meaning in prayer and forgiveness at the end. And so as you read this text, again, hearing it proclaimed on Sunday morning, here's some questions for you to think about as you work through this text and hopefully see the gospel displayed. So the first thing, of course, is how does the fig and the temple relate to each other? How is the tree and the temple related? Why are these things a part of God's revealed word to us? Why does he put them both together? And then as you read the text, you have these two instances of Jesus that cause people to feel a little uneasy as he curses a fig tree for not bearing fruit out of season and driving the money changers from the temple. Why would people feel that Jesus is being unreasonable? And then, of course, the response being, why isn't he being unreasonable? How does this work together? What are we seeing about Christ in this text? Okay, as you begin to unpack more and more about who he is and us encountering the gospel, these are important aspects of what is being taught in this text. And so that leads to the question of what is fruitfulness? What does fruitfulness look like? So when you hear the term, you may have different ideas that come to mind, but what is true fruitfulness in the life of a believer? And even more so if you think about it in the life of a church, what does it mean to be fruitful? Okay, and then we see Christ in the temple driving out the money changers and those who are buying and selling. Why does he do that? What is the underpinning for that motivation? Again, Pastor Adam's going to highlight some things in the Old Testament, how Scripture brings itself into it. What is Jesus doing and why is he doing it? And then we tie it all up with the withered fig tree at the end, and they ask for an explanation, and he gives them what I think for some of us is kind of a surprise as he talks about prayer. What does this have to do with prayer? What does the fig tree in the temple have to do with prayer? What does it have to do with asking God boldly? And also, what does it then finally have to do with forgiveness? How is forgiveness at work in this text? So again, we're talking about the gospel, and here Jesus flat out calls us to forgive in our prayers, seeking forgiveness. What does this have to do with everything that we've seen in this text? So as you think about those things, of course, what is the gospel focus then? How is the gospel clearly being displayed in this text? How does that lead for us to think about our lives, think about how we may display hypocrisy, how we may hold unforgiveness, how we may hold the gospel away from people who should hear it? How do all of these things work together? So as you think about these things in the text, as you seek to apply the text well in our own lives, hope you'll spend some time listening to the word, reading the word, so you may apply it well. Can't wait to see you guys on Sunday.